It has caused a great deal of speculation and controversy as to what you have done or are doing. Are you bleaching your skin? And is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
Okay, number one, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear, always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons.
Okay, number one, this is the situation. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me. I'm not even interested in that.
Why did you settle the case? And it looks to everyone as if you paid a huge amount of money.
Most of that's
to get
folklore.
silence.
I talked to my lawyers and I said, can you guarantee me that justice will prevail? And they said, Michael, we cannot guarantee you that a judge or a jury will do anything. And with that, I was like catatonic. I was outraged.
How much money
Totally
was it?
outraged. So what I said, I have got to do something to get out from under this nightmare. We got together again with my advisors, and they advised me, it was hands down, a unanimous decision, resolve the case. This could be something that could go on for 7 years.
How much money
So
was
let's get it behind us.
Can you say how much?
It's not what the tabloids have printed. It's not all this crazy, outlandish one. No, it's not at all. I mean, the terms of the agreement are very confidential. The idea isn't fair, what they put me through, because there wasn't one piece of information that says I did that.
But let me ask you a couple of questions.
To this day, nothing. Still nothing.
Let me ask
nothing,
you
nothing.
Nothing. I got nothing.
Remember something. Just because it's in print doesn't mean it's the gospel. People write negative things because they feel that's what sells. Good news to them doesn't sell.
Let's talk about Michael Jackson. In recognition of his record-breaking international concert tours and his album sales, and his heartfelt efforts to make this world a better place, the American Music Awards presents its first International Artist Award to Michael Jackson, January 25th, 1993. And in addition, that's not all, in addition, the American Music Awards are proud to announce that when the award is given in the future, it'll be known as the Michael Jackson International Artist Award. So, congratulations, Michael. I know you should be smiling from ear to ear. I know you better smile even deeper than that. Now, there were a lot of people who played a vital role in Michael Jackson's life, like Rebe, Janet, Mrs. Jackson, when she wanted to. But this episode is not even about them, okay? The people that you see on this page right here are the people in which played envious roles in Michael Jackson's life. Joe Jackson, his brothers, Latoya Jackson, okay, and the doctor, okay. Now, all of them were after Michael's fortune, okay? None of them got along, and Michael even said on multiple occasions that he had to hide from them and do multiple things to get away from them, and all types of shit. But we'll start with Joe Jackson.
The father of Michael Jackson has always been known as a monstrous father who was unbelievably hard on his children to the point that Michael would sometimes vomit when he was around. But he did manage to create the Jackson 5 and the then king of pop Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson's career. So did he need to be this hard to guarantee the success of his children?
Joe Jackson, who died in 2014, had a reputation amongst the family for being a hard parent, if I say so politely. He was a very abusive father, specifically to Michael, because he knew that the talent was going to fall on Michael's shoulders ultimately. Okay, now need I say, I don't feel as though that the Jacksons would be where they are without Michael Jackson. Okay, the notoriety that they have, they wouldn't have had without Michael. Janet would have had her own career, of course, because as the baby, she wanted to get there, you know, to the point of having her own career and doing her own thing and all of that type of stuff. But as far as the rest of these boys and the rest of the, and I did say boys, as far as the rest of these boys, and they would have never made it.
Okay? Because in my opinion, none of them can really sing without Michael. That's why you haven't seen none of them start a solo career. None of you haven't seen any of them beyond Janet and Rebe have a solo career. Okay? And Rebe made one song, and that was it. I truly believe that Joe Jackson was one of the main people who was after Michael Jackson's money. Okay? Even in his final hour, okay, he was trying to come after Michael's money. And I find it that whether he tried to come after Michael's money or not, there's just certain things that you shouldn't do as a father, period. And he didn't care whether Michael felt the way about it or he didn't. He just ruled with an iron fist because he was Michael's father, right? So, now, before I start there, when Michael passed away, I did read the final will and testament of Michael Jackson. And when Michael passed away, Michael was worth roughly about $580.6 million at the time. When he passed away, his net worth went up to about $13 billion, which most media and most news sites don't even talk about. Okay, Joe Jackson tried to take money or try to get a lawyer to acquire money from the Michael Jackson Trust. In Michael Jackson's will, he left all of his assets, including Neverland Ranch, to the Michael Jackson Trust, which ultimately was being ran by Catherine, and which ultimately trickled down to the children. Ultimately, they ended up getting a portion of the money, and the rest of it went to charities, and stuff had to be done at Neverland Ranch and all types of stuff. Now, after this was about 5 years after Michael had passed, okay, so roughly around the year that he might have passed away, he got a lawyer to acquire money from Michael Jackson's trust for roughly about $113,000 a month in allowance. When Michael Jackson passed away, he didn't leave money to Joe Jackson, nor his brothers, none of his siblings, period. But he specifically left Joe Jackson and the siblings out of the will because they were after him and his money the whole entire time. And he talked about that multiple times on national television. Nobody had anything to say about that. Okay. I don't really feel like I need to even say anything more about why Joe Jackson is a common denominator this week. People know the reputation that Joe Jackson has. And what he did in Michael Jackson's life, I just truly believe that even after Michael Jackson died, he was still trying to get money out of Michael Jackson's trust. I feel like that just really speaks to the whole volumes of you were after him for his money. Like there was no individuality in, oh well, this is my son, and he's Michael Jackson. No. Michael Jackson had a problem with Joe Jackson the majority of his life. They never really maintained a decent connection because of the way he treated Michael and a lot of the stuff that he said about Michael. Okay, with that being said, he failed. Let's move on over to Latoya.
Yes. This is in honor of him.
But in her early 30s, Latoya veered away from Michael into treacherous waters. She married her manager, Jack Gordon, 20 years older, and a convicted felon, who she says took control of her life, moving her away from her brother's influence.
Latoya is sneaky. She's my sneaky person this week. She has the tendency to do stuff and then hide her hand. On Michael Jackson's death certificate, which I also went over extensively. She claimed his body. She was the one who signed a death certificate as the person to claim his body. That was her. She, in the beginning, okay? Now, there have been a lot of stuff that Latoya had done to Michael leading up to his death. But in the beginning, when the allegations came out about Michael and molesting the children at Neverland Ranch, she was one of the first people to speak out publicly against Michael.
Do you remember what you thought when Michael announced he was getting married to Lisa Marie?
I said, oh my God, is this real or this is to cover up this other situation that's happening?
Why think that right away? Maybe your brother's getting married and...
Because I know him. I know that he doesn't have an interest in women. I know, not that kind of way.
Any woman?
No, absolutely not. He would never touch a woman. He would say it. Oh, can't stand them. He would just say it. I can't stand them.
Why do you think Michael and Lisa Marie went on such a public campaign to convince everyone that this marriage was on the up and up, that it was real, legit?
To throw the allegations off the little force.
Period.
Blank, period.
What was your reaction when you watched them on Primetime Live?
I heard a lot of lies. I heard a lot of lies. That 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days.
Is your brother a pedophile?
In my eyes, definitely yes.
Something else that the media does not talk about. Everybody has these documentaries about Michael. Everybody has something to say. Everybody. But they don't talk about the facts, and they don't state the truth. It was Latoya who first came out against Michael Jackson and started that whole frenzy of Michael Jackson molested the children. She didn't necessarily per se say that Michael Jackson molested the children. She said that she feels as though she can see why the children would want to come out and say what they said against Michael, technically saying that Michael molested the children. Even when she got into it with Nene Leakes, her personality is very much, she's a Jackson, and she doesn't owe you any answers, and she doesn't need to compare to you, and that's her attitude, and she'll break you down in a moment to make herself seem better than you, and that's a toxic trait that a lot of these siblings has, and the only two that doesn't even give that off would be Rebe and Janet amongst the siblings. Latoya also has a personality of a daddy's girl. And this is why I believe her and Joe Jackson was both in cahoots when it came down to Michael's money. If you recall, now that I've showed you that, if you recall, when that did happen, none of these siblings had anything to say but Janet. Okay? She's the only one that has been riding for Michael from day one because that was her best friend. Out of all of the siblings, that was her best friend. Okay? Latoya failed. Because at the end of the day, as his sister, as his big sister, you should have been the one. If you signed for his body, you should have definitely have been the one to say, okay, well, his will has been read and we understand that none of us are in the will. None of us should be going back to get any money. If anything, we need to make sure the children get the money. Or the children have trust funds. Or the children are put through school. Not just letting the family do shit out of complete hatred or complete malice even after this man is dead. Make it make sense for me. I'm confused myself. Okay? But moving right along to the brothers.
As you know, I'm lost for words. I was his voice and his backbone. I had his back. So did the family.
Okay? Michael and his brothers never got along. He never liked his brothers. They always picked on him. They always tried to agree when people wanted to say negative stuff about him. They always tried to do that. Michael Jackson recalled a time where they came to Neverland Ranch looking for him. And Michael left and went to the recording studio. when Michael was at the recording studio, they came to the recording studio looking for him, and the argument that they wanted to have with him was about money. Michael hid from him with his kids. Okay? That's when the whole face covering era started. Because at this point, they had all been out slandering him and making him seem as if he wasn't the breadwinner in the group. Y'all all want to, and to me, it kind of came off as, okay, y'all all want money from him, but because he doesn't want to give you the money, you're going to go out and slander his name? Or you're going to go out and agree with what the media has to say about him? Make that make sense. Like, it's just a bunch with this family that just doesn't make sense, including his brothers. Y'all have been there from day one. And Michael is y'all little brother. And look at what y'all did here. Michael has said publicly on many occasions that he does not deal with his brothers. He purposely said that he did not put them in his father in his will for a reason. They do shady shit. Specifically, Jermaine Jackson. Oh, him and Michael's relationship has never been peachy. And he has always this shady shit to try to get back at Michael Jackson. Always. This group is real iffy. Okay? Something in their Kool-Aid ain't sweet. And I'm definitely getting to the bottom of it. I don't know what makes, like, I just don't even feel as though they really even took time out to get to Michael's good side. Just based off of the research that I've done and the things that I've seen Michael Jackson say, which y'all will see some of, I don't think that they've ever tried to get to Michael's good side. I feel as though if Michael had money, why wouldn't he have deliberately said, okay, well, my brothers need a house. Let me buy my brother a house. Let me buy my sister a house. They want a car. Let me buy them a car. They need a business. Let me buy them a business. Michael never chose to do any of that because they were after his assets and his money from day one. And it got so bad to the point where Michael had to get lawyers involved, which Michael left 3 lawyers in charge of his estate when he passed away. And those are the lawyers that fought Joe Jackson and the brothers. For his funeral, they did all of that sobbing and crying. And if you recall, at the funeral, there was a moment where one of the brothers that was up there speaking, they was coming down from off of the stage. And they stopped on side of Michael's casket, and one of the brothers was crying, and they all hugged. Like, all of that is just, like, for show. Because the shit that they did, Michael, behind closed doors, it doesn't add up to the shit that they show in public. It also doesn't add up to the shit that they try to put out in public. And they also don't take time, and I believe it's only one of the brothers, maybe Randy, who really takes time out to even talk to his kids. Janet, I feel like the sisters, now that's where I believe the Latoya does come in at. Okay, the sisters play more of a pivotal role in the children's lives than the brothers do. And Catherine, she played more pivotal role in their lives than Joe did. It's like the men in that family are very standoffish when it comes to Michael Jackson. And the question is, why? Moving right along to this doctor.
Since we have you here, I want to hear about this person you call your friend. You said you knew him better than anyone towards the end of his life, than anyone, correct?
Yes.
Did he share secrets with you?
Of course. The most hidden treasure trove of his life is with me. But I have protected Michael up till now.
Up till now?
Of course. Of course. I've said nothing that has been inflammatory about my friend.
Okay. And I don't even want to say his name on this channel to give him any clout, because he deserves no clout. Okay? The doctor that served Michael Jackson the injection of propofol that killed him, something in me is telling me that there was knowledge of this. It's something in me tells me that somebody knew, somebody was aware of the fact that this doctor was injecting Michael with something to make him feel better or whatever his excuse was for it. But something tells me somebody in Michael Jackson's family was aware of this happening. He just wasn't feeding Michael propofol without somebody in the family having at least knowledge of Michael's health condition, Michael, what he was giving Michael, like all of that stuff, whether he was Michael's doctor or not. And I feel as though all of this kind of ties into them being after his assets. Why would this doctor, after being Michael Jackson's doctor for years, okay, go out of his way on a random day to give Michael an overdose of propofol? Something is just not adding. The story is not adding up. It's not adding up. And here's why I'm talking about it, because as a fan, I noticed that it's not adding up. Okay? That doctor got his license revoked, yes, but he was still seeing patients till this day, and he's been released from jail. He did 9 years, I believe, in jail for it, but he's been released from jail, and to my knowledge, he's still seeing patients. Huh? Like, this is the doctor that killed Michael Jackson, and somebody's still allowing this man to go out and see patients? Like, he's making house calls now? I'm confused. Like, this whole thing. And even if he is still seeing patients, what patient of his would be comfortable still sitting in a room with him, allowing them to treat him or sign prescriptions for them, knowing that this is the man who killed Michael Jackson? They didn't say that it was a regular dose of propofol. It was a lethal dose. He had to give the dose. So, I would, as a patient, I wouldn't even be comfortable sitting in this man's presence saying, okay, well, can you tell me what's wrong with me? And is there something that you can give me for what's wrong with me? Or can you give me an injection of something? Like, I wouldn't even be comfortable with this man giving me a COVID vaccine. He might try to overdose on that. Baby, I don't even, This whole set ain't right. Okay? All of these people, they were all against Michael Jackson. And that's because, in my opinion, his fame had grew bigger than they had ever thought that it would. And that's what messed them up. That's what messed them up. Same thing, just like the Braxtons, in a way. You know, it was Michael who got the big career. He got the commercials. He got the ads. He got the sponsors. He got the publications. It was Michael. Okay? Yeah, he may have done little stuff with the Jackson 5, and he may have done little stuff with Janet. He did 2300 Jackson Street with all of them. Yeah, he did that little stuff, but it was him who got all of the recognition, not them. And in their opinion, it shouldn't have been them. Like, it should have been them. I mean, like, in my opinion, they had ulterior motives from the time Michael Jackson did that Coke commercial. When he did that Coke commercial, and it's not even, by the time he did the Coke commercial, he was already known for being in the Jackson 5. But when he did that Coke commercial and the accident happened and all of that stuff happened, Michael Jackson's fame went to a whole new level. When he did his solo project, his first solo project, Michael Jackson's career went to another level. And it was without them that he did that. So this is why all of these people had a real problem with Michael Jackson. And this is why I think that this doctor was in cahoots with at least somebody in Michael Jackson's family. But this is just my opinion. Thank you for watching episode 3 of Armani's Got the Heat. And I'm going to see you next week for another special edition. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so you know when my videos are coming. And I'm going to see y'all next week, because things are getting juicier and juicier with these people. And we're going to keep talking, because we want more answers. And I know I damn sure do. So I'm going to see y'all next week with more tea.